Hello, my name is Morgan Gerritsen. Thanks for coming back to my series, Taking Flight, My Journey Through the University of Oregon Executive MBA Program. I'm a class 39, so I'll be graduating in June of 2025. So just starting off, and thank you for taking this journey with me. I did start off with, a couple weeks ago, I posted about our immersion program, which was a 4-day sort of deep dive into what the program is going to be all about. We spent 4 days down in Eugene, 3 days down in Eugene and 1 in Portland, just getting familiar with the content of the program, sort of what the expectations are for the couple of years, the demand, and got to really meet our cohort, which we all can agree is an incredible cohort. I would be a little biased probably and say that it's the best one ever. So sorry, 38, sorry, 40. So we started off this weekend. This episode should be a little bit shorter for us. Episode 2, first one being immersion, second one being business writing. The course was a 1 weekend, 2-day course led by Tina Boscha, who's a full-time English department faculty member at the university. So generally teaching undergrads. Hopefully this was nice for her to step up and teach, some people further along in their career. What was really nice about this course was coming back to some of our roots and revisiting some of the very, very core basic communication skills and strategies that we haven't sharpened in some time. So I think that the benefit of it was really significant. I was incredibly impressed with how well it was delivered. It can be probably a somewhat dull topic or subject, and I can tell you that it was not at all. Not in this context anyway. Tina was amazing. She's light, she's bright, she's patient, she's attentive, and the time went by extremely fast. We all had a lot of laughs. I think we had quite a lot of information that wasn't actually old information or revisited. Some of it was new. So props to you, Tina, for rising to the challenge. Really, 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 really nice. All right, so we started off our day 1 with an analysis of a sample of writing that we had all submitted prior to the course starting. Everyone was to submit a sample of writing, professional writing, could be their writing, could be somebody else's, could be a document or an email that was either good or bad, and why. So what are some of the things that could make something like this be a bad sample? Well, if they're using jarring language or abrasive language, something like, if you're using something that's like effective immediately or isn't really getting to the point, for example. So let's talk about what good writing would look like. So good writing, and it depends on the business, and the context around it. Good writing would probably be something where the message is really clear, right up in the first line, second line, gives the reader an opportunity to say, well, I got the gist of this. I can move on with my day and read something else, or they can read on for the additional detail and expectations. I think also taking into account who may be the audience of this beyond the person that it's intended to go to. Obviously, if it's something that's published largely, that's a very broad audience, but if this is an email intended for one person, sort of having in the back of your mind that it could potentially be relayed or forwarded or shared to get to the bottom of a solution, for example. So keeping in mind, considering who the potential audience is beyond just your specified audience. Respectful tone obviously is a good way to go. And then bad, we heard some that had just really off topic completely. So a question went out to somebody and the response was completely unrelated, or again, using that really jarring language like effective immediately, or something like something that would make it sound dictatorial, which may sometimes be the appropriate method if it's sort of a memo that needs to be applied immediately. There's a change in leadership, effective immediately, but kind of knowing when and how to use those words. Concision also, which I'm not exercising at the moment. Can you say what you're trying to say with fewer words? A friend of ours, actually a teammate of mine, brought up the word bloviate early on, and I think I might have mentioned it before. Brilliant word. Can you say what you need to say with fewer words and not lose the impact. So using concision, and then again, word choices, just, if you're repeating somebody's name over and over, that might be an offensive thing. Spelling their name wrong, that's not a great sign. Stuff like that to sort of pay attention to is really worth the effort. All right, what did we do next? We talked a little bit about active voice. This is something that we focus on throughout our career. I think anybody that starts off in sort of a marketing or public relations or something like that kind of a career has a little advantage here, because they're very used to writing as their job, or part of their role is writing, and they're trained to use an active voice. So what that means is the subject is the one that's performing the action. So I can give you an example of, I didn't quite need to do all that. An example might be when a goal was scored by my son, a gritty was done. So gritty is this sweet little dance that the little kids are all doing. But that's not a very active way to say it. The active way to say it would give the action to my son, and it would say, my son did the gritty when he scored a goal. Or another example, the Standard Oil Company was created by John D. Rockefeller, and he was made the first billionaire in the world. While that may be true, the more active way to say it would be that John D. Rockefeller started the Standard Oil Company and became the world's first billionaire. So this kind of give you a more direct path to the information that you're trying to convey. And we took a quick football break. The Deion Sanders, Colorado was playing the University of Oregon at Alton Stadium. It was a really difficult day for everybody to stay focused, and the teacher, God bless her, was aware of that. So got a little extra breaks in that day. And it was a blowout. It was a blast. It was so fun to watch. And everybody, even the non-football fans, were super engaged. Everybody loves their, now Deion Sanders is helping make football into Hollywood. So of course that is something we enjoy, watching that. So this is kind of coming back. This is what the classroom looks like. Similar classroom that we've had before. You'll see that if you've followed along, people are shuffling around. I think we're starting to get the hang of moving around the classroom to get different perspectives, and literally get different perspectives, because you're spending some of your team time or your team engagement participation time with different people and getting different ideas. And that's actually just as valuable as you being the one that's talking. So something to keep in mind as well. We talked a little bit about the me versus you approach, or the me versus you way of writing. So directing your message to the reader. So an example is, making sure that you have the audience's wishes and preferences rather than your own. An example of that would be one we used in class was, if you were to say the me version is, we insist that you always use Apple Pay to pay in the store. Fair enough, it's pretty clear, but it's not really putting us into your shoes as the consumer. So another way might be to say, we accept Apple Pay. Or there was another one that said, to avoid the loss of your credit rating, please remit payment within 10 days. That's not putting themselves in the shoes of the receiver of the information. So they would want to flip that around a little bit. And a sample of somebody that I thought was valuable said, please remit payment within 10 days to ensure retention of your current credit rating. So it's more from your perspective, this is what we need from you. Emphasizing the positive always wherever you can, I think, is a nice way to get the information across as intended. And then this business writing or not, try to use simpler, non-cliched, unbiased language. One example we were given was, a pilot must have the ability to stay calm under pressure, and then he must be trained to cope with any problem that arises. I think in this day and age, it's pretty easy to see what the issue is with that statement. So if we were to rewrite it, we might try something like, a pilot must have the ability to stay calm under pressure and be trained to cope with any problem that arises. And you could go much finer than that, I think, but I think that the unbiased language there is what is worth pointing out. So taking the he out of it. We had a lot of fun with this one. So this was an example of, or Tina's giving us an exercise to start thinking about how to deliver news. So she used an example of an episode of Parks and Recreation where I think it was Rob Lowe's character broke up with his girlfriend, but he was doing it so nice that she didn't really know if she was getting dumped. So how do you give somebody good news or bad news, especially bad news, and make it clear and do it in a way that is humane? It might be a good word. So there's different approaches. One is direct, you just rip the band-aid off. You didn't get the job, and this is why. Or a little more indirect, which would be, we had an absolutely great time talking to you. You were super qualified. We hope that you consider other options, but at this time we're moving forward with another candidate. So you can kind of see the difference between those two. And I wanted to show these were a blast. So she gave us the task as little groups to basically say, Tina, you didn't get the job in a negative way, and Tina, you didn't get the job in a just crazy bloviating positive way. So I won't read these all the way through, but you can see that the first one is pretty rude. She said, be as rude as you can. I'm unsure how the recruiting team let you in for an interview, or why the office let you in with that offensive outfit. There's just so many things that were not kind about the way that this was written. And then, of course, going the completely opposite direction, saying no, but saying it in such a positive way that the person is left to feel very light. If you are able to see it here, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors, you smiling sunshine unicorn of a person, love and light in your life. We all had a very good chuckle at that one. So there's just an example here of different ways to break news: direct, indirect, gentle, harsh. I think it just depends on what the message and the tone is that you wish to convey. We then moved on to summarizing. So summarizing exactly what it sounds like, trying to focus again on concision, using fewer words. In fact, she said use as few words as possible without losing the meaning. And we had a lot of fun with that, actually. We were given this task to summarize this very long 2-paragraph task or a statement about an experiment that was conducted and the findings. And I won't go into it too much, but the challenge was say it in as few words as possible. So here were 2 that were really great. The first one sort of summarizes the key aspects, which were this particular professor at this Kellogg school did this experiment, and the findings basically saying that the longer students have to decide, the more ethical their decisions will be. So that's sort of the summary of it. There's a longer version here with a little more detail, and then an even shorter version here down below. So it's straight to the point. It's reinforcing the notion that people will make unethical choices when they don't have enough time to contemplate their consequences. Then we went another layer in and said, make it even shorter. And then we thought, let's actually experiment with ChatGPT in this. So we said, ChatGPT, make this statement shorter. And we put the statement in. It says, experiments show what, this is actually the non-ChatGPT response, but make it shorter. Experiments show when given time, students make more ethical decisions. Then when you go down to what did the ChatGPT give us, even longer answers and more words. So maybe not actually the result we would want to select and use going forward. The really, really fun part of this exercise is she said, I had a team do it in 9 words or less. So people literally got this 2-paragraph statement in our class down to 3 words. So I believe they were ethics take time. I think that was the short of it. So just a demonstration that ChatGPT has a place. It may not be the place, but it has a place. Just to revisit grading for this class. So again, this was a pass, no pass course. So it's essentially just show up, participate, do the assignments, and get the most out of it that you can. So obviously, like I mentioned, I think all of us were really excited to sharpen some of those old skills and apply them again. The final assignment was to do write an email internally or externally about a challenge that your company is facing. And I actually was able to use it as an opportunity to draft an email to a superior of mine, kind of clear or outlining what it is I want to do in my next role. So I hadn't really had the time or the boundaries of time to sit down and think about that and think it through. So this is actually a really great opportunity to do that. And I'll have to let you know what the outcome is in the next episode. So I haven't gotten my grade on this course, but I'm certainly expecting a pass, I would hope. A couple quick takeaways: be concise, avoid jargon. So, avoid the acronyms unless you're talking to a team that specifically knows these acronyms day in and day out. I do love that word bloviate. I want to use that all the time, and I want to make more with less words. Using the active voice always, if possible. Getting to know that you viewpoint, that you voice, of putting yourself in the audience's seat, and then understanding what do they need to know and why do they need to know it. Never send your first draft. If you can, if you have time, revise it and then edit it again for grammar. I think in that final exercise as an assignment, we were expected to, or we did deliver a first draft and a final draft, and mine were completely unrecognizable from one to the next. And I think that the last final version was much more clear, and I think we'll have much more of the outcome that I'm expecting, that I hope. And then lastly, ChatGPT is not scary. We can use it. And there's one more thing to remember as a takeaway: always wear green on game days. Don't ever be caught without your green on game day. This is Michael Lee. Michael's actually double duck. So he was a undergrad and now grad student, and he's a fantastic partner. He's not on my team, but he's a fantastic partner, and just awesome person, one of the very many that I've met. And then I'll leave with this. This is my team. I see them many times a week and have been doing such amazing things together, and I can't wait to finish out the year with these guys. So thank you, and go Ducks.